believe it or not, I have 30,000 miles on my ID.4. Wow.
We're going to talk about what we've experienced, what we've liked, what we haven't, the issues we had, next on Every Mile. Well, I guess we'll start by what went wrong.
Why do we have to start with what went wrong? Can we start with what went right?
Well, I suppose we can, but, who wants to listen to, sunshine and roses, right? So what are the issues that we've had during our 2 years and 30,000 mile ownership of the 2023 ID.4 Pro S?
There have been issues, but cumulatively, thinking about my ownership experience overall, I feel really positive. And so even though there have been a few issues that were frustrating in the moment, I've, resolved most of those, and they don't continue to be an issue. But in fairness for the video, we will talk about what did go wrong. And so one of the biggest issues that I've had was problems with the air conditioning in the vehicle from the outset, which we didn't notice when we initially purchased it because it was December. No one uses the AC in the winter. But when spring came around, I noticed that the AC just wasn't getting cold. Took it in to our local dealer, who didn't quite believe me at first, so then I had to make a second venture back. They discovered that it was almost completely empty of refrigerant. They replenished that, and it was fine that summer. Fast forward to the following spring, the same thing happened again. And so that refrigerant, it was leaking, and when the temperatures warmed up again and I went to turn on the AC, it was not cold yet again. And so we did frustratingly have to go through that a few times, but they did find the leak in 2024, this past summer. They did find the leak, they fixed that, and so hopefully, fingers crossed, we don't experience those same issues with the AC again. Because when it works well, and it's a great climate system overall, wouldn't you say?
I would, and I would also say it's very efficient. I mean, you can't tell a difference in the efficiency of the car. So when the AC's on, so I think that's really great. But yeah, no, it does a really, really good job. It's a very comfortable place to be when it's working. I think they got it fixed. Mm-hmm. So I think time will tell, but I think they did.
And then of course there have been the recalls, and you'll notice I said recalls. There have been several.
Plural for sure.
What was the first one? Door handles?
Yeah, so the first go round, door handles 1.0. I'm not sure what the issue was with the mechanism. Let's just say first off, we never actually had any issues ourselves. These were concerns that Volkswagen was made aware of, and then they tried to fix it. We never had any issues that were described in any of the door handle recalls. So the first one, we got that fixed pretty readily. I think it was a replacement of a part. More recently, there was an additional door handle recall, which was serious to the point where they stopped sale and stopped production actually for months, several weeks anyway. I think a couple months in 2024 where they couldn't even produce the cars in Chattanooga. And they've just now, this is the beginning of January 2025, just now fixed it basically where they can produce and sell the cars again. So we do have that recall. It referred to a clicking sound, which we've never heard.
So the door handles were replaced once from the first recall, and they have not been replaced a second time for the second recall because I think the letter they sent me basically said we can't fix this issue at this time.
Right.
So I still need to do that. I have not done that yet. But as Larry said, we have not been experiencing any issues with that.
Correct. Yeah, that's right. And it's disconcerting to be made aware that there's a recall, but it's serious and there's no fix. I mean, that doesn't leave you with warm and fuzzies. But again, we never had any specific actual issues with our door handles. There was also one where I guess the material that they made this liner out of, or the cover over the moonroof, didn't meet federal standards for cars for fire resistance, so they had to spray something on it. Okay,
That was an easy fix, though.
it's an easy fix, but you have to go do it, and it's just kind of irritating. I mean, thankfully we can combine these things. Some people have had more issues with this next recall, which is for the screen going black. I think that hasn't been a big problem for you.
It's only happened maybe 3 times. It's not a regular occurrence by no means. And when it has happened, the car is still completely functional, everything still works, and the screen does reboot after a minute or two. So, again, not a huge issue for me. It's not something that, you don't want that to happen. And I do plan to get it resolved if I can, but it's not been a major detriment to the enjoyment of the car.
There's supposed to be a fix for that, a software fix. This car is supposed to be able to receive over-the-air updates, and we haven't received any, and including that. So, were this something that could happen? I mean, I know others have, like in 2021, but the fewer times you have to go in, we don't have to go to gas stations, right? So we can our gas station's in our garage. We have a nice level 2 charger, so it's somehow more inconvenient to take this car in because we don't really have to do anything. There's no oil changes. I mean, there's 10,000 mile maintenance. I'm not sure what that is. We'll see if we even do that for the 30,000. I don't know. It just seems like there's more recalls than I've ever had on a vehicle. I will say that. But they haven't been serious. They've just been more just inconvenient.
So let's turn to the positive. What has gone right, or what has impressed you over 30,000 miles?
Well, the car has held up well. One, folks, I think, might have concerns about the interior and how, it's very light colored. I did use a ceramic coating on it. I can link to that in the description that I use. It seems to have worked well. In fact, it's probably time to do it again. It looks great. The interior looks really good. It's held up very well.
We don't have children or dogs, so I can't speak to how these light interiors hold up under those trying circumstances. But for us, it looks as good as the day we bought it. Yeah, and it's still very comfortable. We do enjoy the Apple CarPlay. That's something that's wireless. Yeah. I happen to have a 2024 EV6 that I've rented for a few days, and it still has to be plugged in to use Apple CarPlay, which is, that seems like a miss. And we've been test driving other cars, and it makes us appreciate this car even more, not least because of the audio quality. I don't know if either one of us are really audiophiles, but we really do enjoy the radio in here. Yeah, it's very nice. Again, I think the car is holding up well, and I've thoroughly enjoyed the last 30,000 miles and hope to enjoy it for years to come.
Wait, I thought we were going to trade it in on something.
Not me, not now.
Tires, I haven't done really looked at the tread in real great detail yet, but I mean they're holding up well, much better than in my Tesla. I think we probably get 10 or 15,000 more out of these original tires. The one thing to keep in mind about that is they are in the Pro S all-wheel drive at least offset, so that means you can't rotate them, and you have half the tread wear warranty because you can't rotate them. So anyway, just something to keep in mind when you look to replace those.
Although it really doesn't have to do with how the car is holding up over 30,000 miles, I think we would be remiss if we didn't talk about, as part of our ownership experience, the bit of damage that happened back in March on a trip home from South Carolina. I was driving, and it was nighttime, and I ran over, or at least partially ran over, a large chunk of a tire tread from a retread tire, and that did tear out a portion of my fender. Luckily, it didn't damage anything underneath the vehicle, which we were a bit concerned about.
Yeah, it was a wheel well liner basically, is in the part of the front fascia. No, nothing that was painted, nothing that So it was a pain. We'd rather not have done it, but everybody was okay, and it was dark, and it was one of those unavoidable things. But I think it held up well all things considered.
They were able to order the exact pieces that we needed from Volkswagen. And so, as Larry said, no repainting or anything like that.
I guess the other thing that I know we've moved past the negatives, but I mean, no new car is an investment. But I think talking about depreciation is something that's worthwhile, because we sort of bought this car at the worst possible time.
We did.
At the end of the pandemic, when a lot of places were charging above MSRP. Of course, that's not what we've done. We would never do that. But we did pay sticker, and that seems like a lot, and it was a lot, and particularly it's a lot compared to the value. So I don't have an exact figure, but we've lost at least half our value in the 2 years, and 30,000 miles, which is all new cars depreciate, right? But this seems to have depreciated more than others, and and I guess it makes sense because you can get the cars now with under sticker. So I mean, I guess that does make some sense, right? That the values would go down, but that means there's I would highly recommend these for used cars. There's value to be had. There's bargains to be had. I would get the 2023s where you, if you're considering it, just because the screens, the software is better, substantially better than the 2021s.
Overall, a positive ownership experience despite a few recalls, but I still love it and enjoy driving it, as my daily driver.
Yeah, and I've gotten a chance to drive it a little bit over the winter here after I sold my car, and I'm going to miss massaging seats. I can tell you that. And we have taken trips. I think that's another thing. It does not have on-route battery preconditioning, so that affects winter DC fast charging. But we've gone on summer trips, and it's fine. Native nav actually is pretty good. So yeah, I think it's a great car. It's a great car. We don't have any regrets, and would absolutely recommend one to you. So, well, if you like what we're doing here, we sure would appreciate it if you would like this video and subscribe so that others can find it on YouTube. And we really appreciate you watching. And we'll see you on the next one.